Mr. Chairman, Representative Napolitano, thank you very much for inviting me to be at this panel, and also for actually holding this discussion. My name is Doug Young. I am a senior policy director at the Keystone Policy Center that's headquartered in Keystone, Colorado. And my name is Young, but I'm not young to this topic. I actually have been working on this particular specific topic for 20 years. Started out working on it in the Western Governors Association as staff counsel for Governor Roy Romer, then worked for 12 years with Representative, then Senator Mark Udall on this very topic. So I was the lead staffer for him on the various pieces of legislation that he had introduced on this very topic. And this is a mixed blessing for me, because it's unfortunate that we're still talking about it. And it's unfortunate that a spill like the Gold King spill precipitates a need for this discussion. But I'm glad it's happening, and I'm glad we're continuing to have the conversation. The unfortunate part about it is that I wished we had fixed this a long time ago. To give you a little flavor of the difficulty, you've heard some of it here today. Your questions have been very, very good, because they've hit on the topics that have been experiencing on this particular issue over the 20 years I've worked on it. In my experience, we gathered together various disparate interests, just the whole range of folks who are interested in solving this over the 20-year period that I worked on specific legislation. And we all wrestled with the very topics that you have raised and have been raised in this very hearing. We brought together the states, the EPA, the mining industry, the environmental community, anybody who would have an interest in this. And we haggled over all of the topics you've raised. And the focus that we did at the time was over the Clean Water Act specifically. The efforts back then were to try to come up with a new permit, a brand new permit program under EPA, under the Clean Water Act, so that it would deal with the discharging issues. I should tell you that there are plenty of good Samaritans. You've heard today that the people are actually doing work at these sites. What hampers them is the discharge problem. So they are doing good work in resolving safety issues, other kinds of issues that exist at these sites, but it's the draining, ongoing, perpetual, forever releases that are the hampering and the big stumbling block, which is why we focused on the Clean Water Act liability question. I will quickly say that the problem is we got consensus on some of these topics, and we wrestled with the remining question, the standards to apply, who could be a good Samaritan, how to deal with sites on federal property versus non-federal property, how to include the tribes. We dealt with all of that. But the trouble is we tried to thread the needle on getting consensus on that, but we never got complete agreement where everybody would come to the table in front of a hearing like from all of you and say, we support this program. So I worry that we're going to go back over old ground and using the Clean Water Act as the mechanism. I personally believe that we now are at a place where we can look at this anew and look at other programs that we could tack onto or make some refinements to instead of the Clean Water Act, being specifically CERCLA as a potential, brownfields as a potential. And what you can do, I think, is that you can make amendments to those statutes where you capture the concern of all of the issues, but specifically related to discharging releases, and not have to go back over the old ground of coming up with a whole new permit program within the Clean Water Act. That still is a potential avenue, I think, so I don't want to discount that, but we're going to end up having to go through we'll still go through those same issues and still try to refine them and get consensus around them. But the big concern I have is that the Clean Water Act is a very special act. It's a very important one, and I know there's concerns from some folks about opening it up. And I believe that you can deal with the discharge issue, the ongoing discharge issue, without having to actually amend the Clean Water Act and do it through other authorities like CERCLA. So I'm just saying that I think we ought to be able to use this opportunity to get at the very issues you've raised. I'm not suggesting those same issues don't need to be wrestled with again. They do. But there might be a way we can address some of the other issues that have stymied this through other mechanisms so we do not end up facing those roadblocks again under this new thinking and try again. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.